third and final speaker representative of St Mary's College is Rowan Moorkins O'Reilly.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you and make allowance for their doubting too, ladies and gentlemen, over a century later, and still providing some sort of translation of the transition known as adolescence, are the words of Rudyard Kipling in arguably his most famous poem, If. He tells us to dream, but not make dreams our master, to think, but not make thoughts our aim, and that when we may meet with triumph and disaster, that we may treat those two impostors just the same. Adolescence is a time in our lives when we must leave behind our childish ways and embrace adulthood, its responsibilities, its hardships, and its difficulties. We've effectively become who we were born to be. Kipling's wise words, what changes us from children into adults, still echo through society to this very day. However, it is not solely the transition itself that matters. It is the journey itself. And it is on this journey that our personality will be defined for the years to come. Whilst latent in our earliest years, dormant and waiting to flourish, it is during our teenage years that our own personal views or opinions are fully expressed. This is a core element of individualism. We will no longer sit back and let someone do the thinking for us. No longer must we abide the old lie, we will give you opinions because you don't need them. No, it is now our turn to express our own views, be it on any subject, on any aspect of morality. For the first time, we are able to speak in a distinguished manner. This is not a sign of petty domestic insurgence. This is a sign of maturity. However, adolescence is a time wrought with hormones and pressure, and these can lead to rash and often harsh opinions, conjured from ill-meaning sources. So too can it make the simplest obstacles seem torturing and impossible to overcome. Everything is blown out of proportion when hormones become to play. Every little thing is exaggerated, and when something emotionally strikes us, it hits us hard. They're turning off my PlayStation. They're asking me to study. Life is so unfair, nobody understands me. Even if the general parental stereotype is slightly more dramatic than it really is, there is some truth in this. This setback, this perception of our life that the entire world is against us, is something that we can overcome in time. It certainly does not help when dealing with to overcome our own personal battles. Society has decided to play on stereotype and portray teenagers as the public enemy of all mankind. This is nothing new. It has been engraved in the public mind since time immemorial. In the days of the Cold War, American writer Edgar Friedenberg wrote, "The teenager has replaced the communist as the appropriate target for public controversy and foreboding." This prejudice is certainly not good for our mental health. Adolescence is one of the most turbulent times in our lives. When we have real problems, it does not help when adults dismiss us and say, "Ah well, they're just being teenagers." Well, for the age group that has the highest suicide rate in the world, I believe that adolescents deserve to be taken more seriously and our problems to be given more respect. This emotional and hormonal pressure also preys on our fears as well, making even the smallest task seem like an impossible feat. But with strength comes the ability to confront these fears. Ranmaru Mori was still a teenager when he started down the path to becoming a samurai. However, it was him who said, "When we stare into the face of oblivion and find the strength to overcome our own emotions, that is what makes us human." The path which we walk is a long and strenuous road, and over the journey we may undergo many experiments into what we want to become. We develop a mind frame, an ego, an attitude that can be rebellious at times. We want to try everything to see what suits us, and these phases can vary into the very, very utterly bizarre. Very few parents want to wake up to find that their once adorable son has now become a slightly feminine, dark-haired, fringed, shadowy figure who wears tight-down jeans and eyeliner. Though these evaluations of thought and character, we shape our own identity, even though we may not be fact in realizing it. Our personalities are defined, our mantra established, and more importantly, a realization of who we are to become and what our future holds. We learn this through experience. Responsibilities, compassion, wisdom, and sensibility. It is this development of the soul who makes us who we are. That is not to say there was pain along the way. John Ciardi once wrote, "You don't have to suffer to be a poet. Adolescence is enough suffering for everyone." The teenage years are long, difficult, and often painful. Adolescence is a period wrought with sorrow and tenderness and agony. The sad truth is, it's tough to be a teenager. We are assaulted with dramatic social and physical changes. We are bombarded with unfair expectations and outside pressure. We are dumbfounded when we face the development of our own personality. At times, this transition seems impossible. However, as an aforementioned wise man once said, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything upon it. And which is more, you will be a man, my son. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Barry, Stephen, and Rowan. Well done. We're now going to have a break, and about 15 minutes.